Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome back to another installment of the 94 podcast. So happy to be back here with you. I'm joined here with my co host, Jim Bushy. I'm Brooke Edel. Welcome, 2025 and beyond. We have one show in the books. We just had Coach Chauncey Williams Bearfield on last week's episode in the studio. But we still got more football, more topics in regards to the NCAA, NIL to cover. We're keeping an eye on the Timberwolves and the Minnesota Wild. This is the Minnesota Vikings. They didn't do their job this past Monday, and they got eliminated. Sacked 9 times, Sam Darnold. Wow. Well, let's not bury the lead here. Let's talk about the NFL playoffs. What are your reactions so far with all the games that have been played so far?
I mean,
And how's
it
your
is
week going so far,
blowout.
Jim? By the way.
My week's good. I'm back in Wisconsin. I'm back in the saddle again. Just trying to get through everything. Still trying to survive. Trying to recover from the collapse of the Vikings. I'm doing good, man. How you doing? How's your week going?
My week's going good, thank you. Staying healthy and just really grateful for you know being able to produce another show with you, and then also talk some more exciting topics coming up here. We got the Super Bowl coming up. We also got the national championship this coming Monday on Martin Luther King Day, inauguration day. So a lot of huge events coming up. But yeah, just really excited to really chat about what is coming up in 2025. And I know with the winter sports kind of just taking the prime seat now, with hockey and basketball like just ramping up because, before we know, we're going to be talking about playoff seedings for those sports.
Playoffs?
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 Right. You kidding me? But yeah, the Vikings
Uh,
though. I mean, we we can't go without saying the Vikings had a great season. Like no one expected
yes.
them to have 14 wins. Yeah, unfortunate. All the losses came to the same two teams. You go, um, 14-3. You lose out on having that first round bye, but you were able to still gain that experience. Win, loss, or tie in any situation, you gain that experience in the playoffs, and that's going to be huge. That was the first time we had Jordan Addison in the playoffs. First time we had a lot of newcomers, Jonathan Grenard. I know they played with Houston in the I think last year they were in the playoffs with Houston, but this is their first year with the Vikings. So it's good to see all the pieces that were huge signings in the offseason, and then they were huge throughout all of 2024, and they're going to be huge for the Vikings as you know we turn the page on the season here because there's going to be 31 teams that leave upset, and the Vikings are one of those 31 teams. There's only going to be one champion, one team left standing once this is all said and done for. Uh, so hats off to the Los Angeles Rams. I know they're going through a whole ton of stuff, adversity with the LA Fires. Um, you know, it ended up being played in Glendale, Arizona, so it was a neutral site. And you would thought that that might play into an advantage for the Minnesota Vikings, especially with how loud it was. I mean, like the first series, it's pretty loud. When the Rams were in the red zone, I know the Vikings defense was giving up a bunch of chunk plays early, but like once it got down to the red zone, like the Vikings fans, they definitely made their presence felt. So yeah, we thought it was obviously gonna like maybe play a factor. It didn't play a factor as much as we liked it to, because obviously the score was 27-9. There was not too much to cheer for, uh, especially when you're not really scoring points or you're not staying on the field long enough for the offense. So yeah, that's just something that we're looking forward to for next year. I know there's going to be a lot of draft capital looking at the quarterback position. What's in store for J.J. McCarthy? What's in store for Sam Darnold? A lot of questions on who comes back, who doesn't come back, because that's the reality in the NFL. You're never going to have the same team come back. So this is a fun season. I'm not trying to be negative about it, but it was just something that we have to realize we didn't get the job done. But it was a fun season as a fan. Your reactions to the entire season for the Vikings?
Like you said, it's a season we were not expecting to win 14 games. We're thinking, all right, rebuilding. We have a new quarterback. Quarterback goes down. Addison gets in trouble. There's a lot of people getting hurt in the preseason. You're thinking, no, please. It's gonna be one of those years, and then all of a sudden, Kevin McConnell works his magic with Sam Darnold, and he is now this elite quarterback throughout the majority of the season. He has stumbles here and there, but the defense played amazing. We won a lot more games than we probably should have, and I'm not going to complain about that. We'll complain about how that scoop and score should have been a scoop and score and
Yes.
not a forward pass, but there's no point of sitting here and sulking in it. It's time to turn the page and move on.
Literally, right. Turning the page on that. I know Matthew Stafford got away with murder, and also politicking with the ref to look at the replay screen to get a face mask called late in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So there was a lot of questionable things that went on. But yeah, we're moving on. It's a new season that we're looking forward to. And it will start in the NFL draft for the Minnesota Vikings. But let's bring it back to the teams that are still alive. We got Houston, Kansas City. We got Washington, Detroit later today. And then Sunday, we have Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and Baltimore and Buffalo. We'll break down each matchup, take a look at who we think are going to be the top playoff performers in the remaining games. But it will be interesting to see if that rest or rust theory comes into play for the games coming up here for today's games at least. What are your thoughts in regards to right now, also with everything that's breaking, with the coaching interviews they're coming in with Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Mike McCarthy, you got Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, potentially some trades for Kevin O'Connell being kind of surfaced out there, which I know Vikings fans are like, oh heck no, that's not gonna fly, and I hope if Kwesi does get a chance to check out this podcast, definitely check us out, Kwesi. I would be upset if we see a trade of Kevin O'Connell. I don't think it's worth it, and it could backfire very quickly, especially if Kevin O'Connell goes on to win a Super Bowl elsewhere. But also looking at all these coaching interviews that are happening, and also is Bill Belichick maybe potentially back in the saddle for another job?
It's a long shot. I say it's a long shot. He has burned a lot of bridges back in the day, so I don't know. I mean, he could, but it'll be definitely a big long shot. I mean, I could definitely see like a desperate team who needs a coach to come in and shape up their. I'm surprised the Bears haven't like put him on the list. Like when they released the list of potential coaches, they haven't like tried to go after him.
Right. I don't think that is wise of the Bears. They should definitely have Bill Belichick on their list. At the very least, just kick the tires. See if he's actually, the person for the job. You got a young quarterback, and Caleb Williams. You're hitching your wagon to Caleb Williams. I know Chicago fans are probably like, we picked the wrong guy. They're looking at Jaden Daniels in the playoffs, and more likely he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. Um, and you're thinking back to yourself. It's like, all right, would have Chicago ruined Jaden Daniels, and would have Caleb Williams been able to have the success that Jaden Daniels is experiencing now in Washington? We will never know. We'll never know. But I'm looking at it as like, all right, with these coaches getting opportunities, you never know. Also with Kansas City, Nagy. I think Nagy's also getting some looks in regards to another head coaching job.
Flores, I swear, he's been a coach that deserves another chance. I think he got screwed out of Miami. He turned the team from a laughingstock to a team that actually wins, and they cut it. And I think that was the biggest mistake. I think if he was still on the team, I think they probably would have found a way to win without Tua. He's just that good of a coach. I think the Vikings should keep him as long as they can. That guy can be a coach. He can be a head coach tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about Brian Flores?
Brian Flores.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, Brian Flores definitely is, he's joining the conversation a little bit later. I know that for whatever reason, he's hasn't been able to get a job. And I think it also comes back with those interpersonal relationships, especially with Tua Tagovailoa coming out early this season and stating that, hey, Brian Flores was not a supportive coach. He was very demonstrative in the way that, he approached the player-coach relationship. And I know that it's a little different because he's coming from that Bill Belichick coaching tree, and, the Patriot way doesn't always work in all arenas. It doesn't work in all arenas. Sometimes, the approach of being more of a caring coach. I think that's what some players are looking for, especially with this generation of new players. You're not going to get we're just going to go with whatever coach says, and unless you have those strong leaders, like I feel like a Tom Brady definitely did a really good job of protecting Patriots players from the wrath of Bill Belichick. And, you can laugh about it now that they're retired, but I feel like during that time, I feel like it was very tense in those locker rooms. Even for the Vikings when they had Mike Zimmer, they had tense locker rooms where I think from Brian Flores, what to look forward to is that, is he able to make that change, and what will that change look like once he gets that next opportunity? Because the Jets, they're in talks with Aaron Glenn, but like maybe Brian Flores is able to land a job if Aaron Glenn wants to take that Raiders job. You never know where these conversations will lead to. And it feels like Ben Johnson right now is like the leader in the clubhouse to land that Chicago Bears job. But what was kind of interesting to hear is that Hendon Hooker is actually going to be leaving with Ben Johnson. So like they're almost like a package deal. I don't know if Chicago wants to sign up for that, for the fact that they already drafted a number one franchise quarterback, and I don't know if Ryan Poles is willing to give up on Caleb Williams after just 1 year. But again, there's a lot of things here to unpack in regards to like the coaching carousel that's about to happen. I mean, Dallas, I feel like Deion Sanders, that's another name that gets thrown out there. And I don't know, this is something that I'm considering is like, I don't know if Deion Sanders would have all the control that he has in Colorado. And I feel like that might be like a rude awakening for him. Once he goes to Dallas, he's got to realize that he's going to be playing by Jerry Jones's rules. And Jimmy Johnson learned that the hard way, but they were successful in the early part. But then after that success, I feel like that ego of Jerry Jones just got so big that he couldn't contain himself. And he was like, all right, I can win without you or despite you, Jimmy Johnson. And, I mean, they won one more, I think, with Barry Switzer. But let's be honest, it was with Jimmy Johnson's players, and
Yeah.
the culture that he had built out. Uh, and now, if you have Deion Sanders coming in, I don't know how they're gonna, because there's two big egos there. I don't know if they're gonna be able to coexist. But that would definitely be must watch TV. Maybe Rex Ryan comes back to the
Oh God.
Jets,
Oh
because
my
because
God, Rex Ryan.
because
That's
because
the
yeah,
Jets.
yeah, because the Jets. I don't know if they're going to go with Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn might want to have a homecoming there. He did play for the Jets as a player. Um, but all these coaching candidates I'm taking a look at is like the Bears are probably going to be like the team where what direction are they going to go? I would assume that they go offensive because they went defensive the last couple times.
Yeah, they need to go offensive. I think they need to change of pace. And you brought this up, like, you think they made a mistake drafting Williams over Daniels? Well, let's point out to last year's draft and last year's season when we had Bryce Young and
C.J.
C.J.
Stroud.
Stroud.
Yep.
Everyone was saying, "Oh, Young is a bust." I said he was a bust. You said he was a bust. But come this year, Stroud's been struggling a little bit more, even though he's in the playoff. And like, look at Young. They finally sat him. They finally had him sit behind a veteran quarterback. And last few games, he played out of his mind. So it's not the players. So I don't think they made a mistake taking Williams. I I think they're coaching, and they need to go offense. They need to change the space. They need to change of everything. So it's possible that they can go and I don't know, they can actually be better with an offensive minded coach.
Absolutely. Um, yeah. Right now, the Bears, like just focusing on the Bears real quick on this topic, they've already interviewed with former Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. We talked about Brian Flores. He's already interviewed with Chicago. Aaron Glenn, and then this is the name that I feel like a lot of Bears fans, and we were talking about this briefly in last week's episode, where Caleb Williams was pranked by Chicago Bears fans saying that, hey, we went and we we hired Ben Johnson, and he was so excited, and I feel like it's almost like you're setting him up for failure if you don't hire Ben Johnson, because like that video is gonna circulate. It's like, all right, anytime there's any type of turmoil, like they're gonna have that circulate or play that. Mike McCarthy has been in that conversation. That will be interesting to see if he's able to, you know, be the guy for Chicago. Mike Kafka, I believe, Giants offensive coordinator, so another offensive mind there. Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken, who is working with Lamar Jackson. So that'll be interesting to see how that progresses. Also, Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, and then former Commanders. This is the one where I feel like this is like a legacy hire, but I don't know if Chicago's going to go this way. Former Commanders head coach Ron Rivera. That would be a defensive minded head coach. And then also David Shaw, and then we already know this. Mike Vrabel's off the table. He's going to New England. But I know that he did interview, and then the final person that I see interviewed with Chicago was Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator with the Dolphins. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury, which would be interesting because Cliff Kingsbury did work with Caleb Williams at USC. So that's like an outside dark horse of a hire of Cliff Kingsbury. But with all that being said, you got to make the right decision, because like we saw what the Vikings were able to do transitioning from Mike Zimmer to Kevin O'Connell. You got a 13-win season right out the gate. You win your first division title back in 22. You do this off the heels of like, you know, a rebuild basically, and then I feel like every season that you doubt Kevin O'Connell, he pops off like 13, 14 wins. I don't know how next year's going to look like, but to give Bears fans at least some like light at the end of the tunnel, like this could be the beginning of something really, really exciting for you guys.
Oh, 100%. I could definitely see the Bears starting to now compete. They got the last one against Green Bay when they broke a 13-game losing streak against the Packers. They have a number one overpick. They're not drafting first. They're not drafting first in the past 2 years. So that alone tells you, like, hey, we're not the worst team in the league. But there's something. Caleb Williams, he looks to be promising. DJ Moore looks to be promising. They just need to be better. I think they need to be better on defense. They need to get the offensive line better and get another weapon for Kit Williams because get another weapon for Williams Williams to throw to, get another weapon to block for him, and you gotta get the head coach. They're trending in the right direction. But I mean, I'm fine just keep kicking them down, get down to the bottom.
Right. I mean, we want them to have success, but not in the NFC North, right?
As long as they're behind us, that's fine.
Right. If they're sweeping the Packers, we're cool with that. If they're taking care of Detroit, we're cool with that. But against the Vikings, yeah, we're taking you guys down. Yep. Okay. All right. So enough of Bears talk there. I know that they are very elated to know that Matt Eberflus was gone after Thanksgiving because that's what kind of started this whole conversation. The first time ever in Chicago Bears history that they let go of a coach mid-season. So a lot of firsts for Chicago this past season. And then now that we're looking at the rest of the coaching pool, Dallas has an opening. They've interviewed with Kellen Moore, who's the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, former head coach of the New York Jets, and Leslie Frazier. A lot of Vikings fans will recognize that name, former head coach of the Vikings, currently with the Seattle Seahawks as assistant head coach. Jacksonville is another opening. Jacksonville let go of Doug Peterson. He did win a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure that he's going to be looking for a job here coming up. But names that have been rumored around the Jacksonville Jaguars job: Steve Spagnuolo, Chiefs defensive coordinator. He will be in action this weekend. Ben Johnson will be in action this weekend. So another name that is floating around. Aaron Glenn. So these are kind of rinse and repeat names. But Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. So a couple dark horses here. Liam Cohen, offensive coordinator with the Buccaneers. Great work with Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield led the NFL in passing touchdowns. And their offense has been surging. And then Robert Saleh, another name that is getting thrown out there. But we'll see if Robert Saleh is able to jump onto one of these teams that are looking for a defensive-minded coach. Las Vegas Raiders, maybe if they had the number one pick, we might see Deion Sanders here. Because I was thinking if they get Shadur Sanders, you pair him up with Deion, right? I mean, it would make sense because like he was talking to Antonio Pierce while he was the head coach. I need you to draft the Sanders boys, and this could be that moment especially if Las Vegas and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the owner, and this is something that I wanted to talk to you about as well, Jim. Is what do you think about Tom Brady being a part of the media, but also being a minority owner, but he does have the hiring power over the who's going to be the head coach, who's going to be the GM. What are your thoughts on him calling this weekend's games? Because we don't know if he's going to be holding back on how he really feels about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, because he's going to be calling the Lions Commanders game this weekend.
I mean, I think Brady is under his contract now since he's a part owner. I think I was reading this somewhere or heard this before a game that he's not allowed to be involved. He can't talk about that. He can't talk about that about the refs. He can't speak anything out there as a minority owner of team since he's now broadcasting. And if I'm Tom Brady, why would I mention that? You gotta play your cards close to your chest. You gotta keep people guessing. You can't. It's like playing a game of football. You can't know what your defense is doing. You also have to try to understand what they're trying to do. It's a game of cat and mouse. A game of who will bend first, and he could be pre-scouting. He could be looking down at the field. He could be looking at the stat sheets that they get. He could be looking at everything that a media reporter or a play-by-play analysis gets prior to each game. They get a stat sheet, and like, okay, this guy would be good here. This coach would be good here. So he has the information. So he's not like digging around. So he probably has a good idea who he wants. Plus, he has a great IQ for the game. So he knows how everything works, how everything's supposed to go, and how he wants to shape the team and his image.
Absolutely, yeah. No, well said. It's like behind the scenes. It's a game of chess. He knows how they're preparing for the game the week of. Um, he's able to have conversations with them. Game day. So it's almost like a real life simulation of like, who do you want to go to war with? You want to go to war with Ben Johnson, or you want to go to war with Aaron Glenn? Like, and he's getting like a test drive in these playoff games. I feel like that is it is an unfair advantage, and maybe this is something that the Raiders saw, in regards to like, hey, we might as well have Tom Brady select who we hire next because he's going to be the best person to give us that overall like criteria for a head coach because he did get coached by Bill Belichick, so he knows what works and what doesn't work. And it'll be interesting how the NFL kind of officiates that moving forward in regards to like what type of access that they're going to allow owners or minority owners in Brady's case.
Well, I think the reason why this is a big deal with Brady is because he's an actual broadcaster. He was hired by the NFL before he was a minority owner. So that's where this whole, like, hey, what's going on? If he was just a minority owner of the team, we're not talking about this. But the only reason why we're talking about this is because he's actually a broadcaster. He actually has the stats. He actually has numbers in front of him that you and I are watching the game, we don't have.
Right, the analytics.
Unless you want to pull up the stats about the coach you pull up Andy Reid's cheat sheet right then and there, and he eats this meal this day. Every time he eats this meal, they win.
They get a cheeseburger after the game, right?
Yeah.
Like they know the whole team's itinerary. They know exactly what they're doing. How they're preparing for the game, who is going to be marked as an eligible receiver. Like, is there any trick plays coming up? Especially with Ben Johnson, that might be something that we might have to look forward to in one of these playoff games coming up. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into like the behind the scenes for the media, and comparing that to like the NFL. Or Fox in this case, they hired him knowing that they were going to get somebody that was going to be a public figure and an icon, a football icon. But then now the Las Vegas Raiders, very savvy move by them by handing him the keys. And, let's see if this will bring back the autumn wind years for the Las Vegas Raiders because there hasn't been too much winning in Las Vegas. A lot of losing, but, that's neither here or there because Vegas definitely has they've been waiting for a winner. That fan base has been waiting for a winner. I think last time they went to the Super Bowl was against
the Raiders. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Vegas, no, the Raiders fan base, yes. If you want winners in Vegas, you go to ice hockey. You go look at the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They were in the playoffs the first year of existence. 6 years down the road, they won the Stanley Cup. They've been so good ever since they've been a part of the league. If you want to talk about fan bases that are looking to win, you're talking about Raiders in general, Oakland and Las Vegas.
Okay, that's fair. No, Las Vegas Golden Knights. They have a Stanley Cup for crying out loud. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're probably favorites to get back there this year. Um, but like looking at the Raiders fan base, yeah. Let me not generalize there. Raiders fan base, they're looking for a winner. In regards to they haven't been relevant. I mean, it's been almost like 10 straight years of Chiefs domination, Chiefs kingdom. I'm sure they want to puke every time they see Patrick Mahomes on the podium raising another Lombardi trophy. I'm sure Raiders fans that are watching this would love to see the Chiefs never make another playoff again. Right. Yep. I think that has been confirmed by um, multiple sources. But in regards to what we're seeing right now, though, I feel like Las Vegas, if done correctly, they could definitely set themselves up for having a great football program that's coming up in regards to what we'll see in 2025 and beyond, especially if they can build that culture. I know with Antonio Pierce, they tried. They tried to have a very loose locker room. They have cigars after every win. That's cool, But like if you're not winning, then it kind of falls on deaf ears. You kind of lose the locker room, and you're just like, all right, we're not a successful team, and especially with those situations where you need to execute to win these football games. All right, so I know we're getting heavy on all the coaches. I mean, there's still GM spots that are open, and I know the Jets, Titans. They just hired a GM from the Chiefs organization, Mike Bergonzi. It looks like the Titans are going to be picking number one overall, so he gets the first crack at who's going to be the number one overall pick for the Tennessee Titans. Will it be Shadur Sanders? Will it be Cam Ward? Will it be Travis Hunter? There's a lot of questions there. Raiders, they need a GM. So I know we're heavy on the Raiders right now, but there's a lot of people that are going for this position because think about it. You have a brand new stadium, and you're also working with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's going to be working with your quarterback. Think about that. You got John Eric Sullivan, Packers VP of Player Personnel. He's interviewing for that role. John Septic, Buccaneers Assistant General Manager. He's interviewing for that role. So, again, Vegas, they may be turning the page in regards to what is coming forward. Also, wanted to talk about who do you think is going to land in all these spots? Like real quick in regards to Jets head coach, Saints head coach. We can go one by one.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, it depends on what each team wants to go for. If team wants to go more offense, they are. Like the Jets, who knows? The first thing first, they got to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. Because if it's Aaron Rodgers, he's going to want to have control over that. If it's not, okay, then you have a fresh start. I can't sit here and tell you this is who I pick, this is who I want. Because look, they're all NFL coaches for a reason. They all coached in the league. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's all up in the air. I think the only coach I am certain about is that the Bears want Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
So I think that could be
okay.
So that could be a big. I think Mike Tomlin stays in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah, like I think that would definitely be difficult to kind of see Mike Tomlin leave Pittsburgh. I feel like he's a staple there. I feel like he does embody that city and that franchise. Okay, but yeah, I know it's a difficult ask. Jets. I know that this is a name that Vikings fans can recognize. Rick Spielman. It looks like they brought in, as well as Vikings general manager Rick Spielman, to assist with their dual general manager and coaching searches. So Rick Spielman is going to be part of that search. So it'll be interesting to see if Brian Flores will actually get maybe another look in regards to the conversation there for the Jets. But yeah, like you said, this is very difficult. It's ever developing. You know, we'll touch on it. You know, especially after all these hires come forward. But yeah, let's talk about these playoff games. I know we'll get to the good stuff here. All right, playoffs. We got right. We need that sounder. So Texans, Chiefs. That's going to be the first game for today. What are your expectations going to this? We got Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid and Travis Kelce's going for the three-peat, looking to make NFL history. No team ever has won a three-peat. Can they do it? We'll figure out if they can get through their first challenge later today. Texans trying to get into their first ever AFC Championship game. They surprised a lot of people last week. Took care of the Los Angeles Chargers. There's a lot of media pundits like Rex Ryan saying that the LA Chargers, they got a bye week, and Houston was a bye week. And Joe Mixon didn't take too kindly to that, you know. And in the locker room, they were smoking on that Rex Ryan pack, and then they had a cigar. With all that being said, yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say this, like, you never want to underestimate any team in the league. Sports is sports. Anyone can beat anyone. That's what we like. That's why I like watching sports, because we all love it up underdog.
Absolutely.
I saw a stat from Barstool Sports. I think it was Barstool Sports. I could be
okay
wrong. It was the record for the Chiefs in the playoffs. 4:30 start time. 0-2. Any other start time, like 82, 2-1, or something like that. So it's just
okay. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. And then the other like stat that I heard from a friend is the ref that's going to be actually officiating the Chiefs Houston playoff divisional AFC divisional playoff game. The Chiefs are undefeated, whatever that ref is actually, you know, officiating their games. So take it for what it is. You know, we got stats going both ways where the Chiefs are 0-2 in the 4:30 or 3:30 slot. Regardless, they're going to have to play that game at that time. They can't do a delay. I'm sorry. Taylor Swift's flight couldn't make it, so we got to delay the game. The NFL. I think they would lose it. I think the NFL fans would lose it if that was the case.
I think that would turn a lot of fans off.
Oh, for sure.
Like, really, we're focusing on a pop star going to the game. Like, really?
Exactly. And yeah, that's what it felt like all of last season, and I feel like it did tone down a little bit this year, because I feel like the NFL, you know, somebody gave them some feedback and say like, hey, this is not what the fans want to see, like, and especially when you're doing a simulcast with the Mannings, and Bill Belichick is kind of going like, oh, like the groan.
So I will put this out there, as people may not know, I do work in news. When the Chiefs came to Green Bay last year, we literally ran stories about the impact Taylor Swift would have if she went to the game. We had so many emails being like, "Can you please stop talking about Taylor Swift, please?"
Right.
Like,
it can get too much.
And then, yeah, but then tickets. We're gonna go to the game. Tickets were cheap. They were like, I don't know, $230. Next thing you know, there's a rumor that her plane was leaving somewhere, and all of a sudden those tickets shot up for like $200, $300, $400. Wow. Like, I mean, she does have an impact on the economy of the game. Like, yeah, people want to go see her, but like, if you're a fan, you don't care.
You're gonna show up, right? You're gonna show up. You're gonna tailgate. You're gonna you're gonna be there rooting your team on. But yeah, like it does suck that because of a high profile persona shows up to the game that you gotta pay 200, 300, $400 more, right? No,
Yeah.
that was tough because yeah, I think I do recall that when she did show up to the Packers Chiefs. Yeah, that was Sunday night. I think it was a Sunday night game. Yep.
In that game, yeah.
Yep.
They're all rested, ready to go. Like, yeah, this is gonna be fun, and tickets went up.
Tickets went up. Yeah, and your tickets just skyrocketed. Who's happy? I'm sure the Packers brass is happy. I mean, like they're reaping the benefits. The NFL loves it because there's gonna be more eyeballs on the actual game. But like the fans overall, they're the ones that are gonna be paying the piper there. But let's take a look at this Houston Chiefs game. Regardless if Taylor Swift will be there or not, more likely she will be there. It's a playoff game. We got a couple of questionables. We got a star running back, Joe Mixon. He's questionable. Wide receiver, Robert Woods. He's questionable. I think the only IR that I'm seeing here is both tight ends for Houston, both Cade Stover and Tegan Quintaro. Both of them have been ruled out. It looks like Aziz Allah Shahir, he's questionable, and he's known for that huge hit that he put on Trevor Lawrence, where he smoked him, got ejected, big rah-rah because there was a suspension. So he's questionable. That will be interesting to track that up to game time, because how physical can the Houston Texans be with Kansas City? Because that might be the key to actually, slaying the dragon that is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh yeah, 100%. You have to put a body on Kelsey. You got to put a body on Gray. There's two big tight ends there. You have to be physical. You can't just let them run their routes. You can't let them get those extra yards, especially with the running backs too. Is Pacheco back?
Yep, Pacheco's back. Yep. But he's
can't let him go.
Can't let him go. You can't let him get going, especially in this cold weather where he's going to be a beast to tackle. I know that they're already probably scheming him to start running downhill and trying to exploit any of these backups. They're going to be in there for Houston, and if Houston's not able to get a pass rush, they're going to be turning their backs and trying to chase down Pacheco, and it's going to be a long afternoon if that's the case.
Oh yeah. And I think the more physical you are, I think with the weather being cold as it is, I mean, good thing they're not playing tomorrow. You put a body on someone in the cold, it's gonna sting, and it's not gonna be like a sting and like you'll be back in 3-4 minutes. No, you hit someone in the cold, yeah, it's gonna sting for like hours. And now it's a psychological warfare. Like, do I want to get hit again? Do I want to go out there? And it's going to come down to who can be the toughest player in this weather. Because if you the second you lose your mentality, you lose the game.
Absolutely. I think that has to be Houston's mindset going to this game is start fast. And Joe Mixon said this going into the wild card game last week against the Los Angeles Chargers. He felt like this team reminded him of the 21 Cincinnati Bengals. And we know what happened. That team made it all the way to the Super Bowl, was within a couple plays of hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. If it wasn't for Aaron Donald basically closing them out on, back-to-back plays on third and fourth down, we might be seeing Cincinnati with a championship. But fast forward to 2025, we see Joe Mixon. He had a stellar start to his postseason. C.J. Stroud gets another opportunity. His QBR versus Kansas City is 50.1. Not really impressive. His completion versus Kansas City, 59.0. Average passing yards versus Kansas City, about 244. I'm not saying that he needs to throw for 400 yards or throw for 5 touchdowns, but if you can get them quality plays when they need it, and if they can lean on Joe Mixon, if Joe Mixon is able to get at least 95 plus yards, I feel like they can stay in the game. And their defense is not half bad. I mean, they have Derek Stingley Jr., who's going to be a ball hawk. And if Mahomes is kind of loose with the ball, or if he is throwing it into tight windows, he's going to make you pay. And looking at what the Texans' road to victory, it's definitely going to land on C.J. Stroud being able to not take the sack. And we saw that with Sam Darnold last week. When you take those sacks, you're taking away opportunities from your team to build that momentum, and you're also taking away opportunities for your team to build confidence. Because like all those negative plays, that stays with you. Like when you're battling in the trenches, your offensive linemen start losing faith in you, and I feel like that could be another thing for C.J. Stroud to definitely look out for in this first game. Is C.J. Stroud able to make quick throws to Nico Collins? I know he's very depleted with all his wide receivers, both Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell out. I feel like if he can get Joe Mixon, if he can get Nico Collins, Robert Woods, basically if he can get anybody on that Texans team to rally with him, I think this is going to be a good ball game. But we can't see a replay of just what we've seen throughout the season with C.J. Stroud, where he's holding onto the ball for too long, and that turns into fumbles, sacks, negative plays.
Oh, yeah. But I'm going to say this, Brooke. I'm going to take those stats, and I'm going to crumple them into a ball, and I'm going to throw them in the trash can. This is playoffs. And
Playoffs?
One and done. Playoffs? It's one and done. Who cares about the regular season? Who cares about the last time you played? You're not thinking about last time. They're going. Houston's going to go into Arrowhead, and they're going to. This is our game. This is ours to win. Who cares about what happened early in the season? This is ours to win. I think that's the mentality they're going to come in. But I'm going to get my prediction. I'm going to get 36-10 Chiefs.
Wow.
I think the Chiefs are more well rested. I think
Sure.
it's gonna be a tight game until we get to the end, and then I think Mahomes is just gonna start using his legs. 36-10. I think it's like 17-10 till the fourth quarter, and then the Chiefs just go turnovers, go.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We could wrap up here with the analysis here. Chiefs. They're 9-point favorites. Mahomes arrested. Just welcomed his third child, Golden Mahomes. So they got Golden, they got Bronze, and then they have Sterling. Some interesting names for their children. Yeah. No, Silver is their dog. Like so, yeah. I don't get. Right.
I'm not gonna judge.
I'm not gonna judge. Right, but he's just like, okay, it's interesting. So now that he's welcomed his third child, I feel like, yeah, the Chiefs win this game. Long story short, I think it's going to be similar. 28. I say 28. I think it's going to be a little bit closer score. 28-17. I feel like 28-17. I think Houston is going to hang around for majority of the game. It might be like 17-17, or it might be 21-17 going to the fourth, and I feel like Kansas City just gets that game-winning drive late. Okay, so now we move forward. Detroit versus Washington Commanders. This is going to be a great game.
It's going to be a fun game. Two great quarterbacks going into this. You have Washington, who upsetted Tampa Bay with a last-minute field goal win.
Doink field goal for the win. Yeah.
You have Detroit coming off a bye after 22 players on IR still. They had an extra week to get healthy and to come back. You have Jared Goff playing lights out. You have the running backs going good. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is firing on all cylinders. This is going to be one of those games where you're not going to want to see this game end. It's going to be one of those games.
You said it's not going to be one of those games of what?
It's going to be one of those games where you're like, you don't want this game to end.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be like, why does either one of these teams have to lose, but one team has to lose? Because it's just the way that it has to go. It,
Yeah.
I would echo that because I feel like going to this game, I know it's like, oh, you're feeling like it's going to be a shootout, but again, playoffs, they sometimes this could be like a defensive battle. It could be 10-9. Who knows? But like what game script is telling me right now is that it's going to be like 45. Like both the teams are probably going to score more than 40. But like I feel like the team that clears 45 is going to win. And both Washington and Detroit, they have explosive offenses. They're able to make those big plays. Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, they're always looking, to hit you with that kill shot in regards to what they could do with their big time playmakers. Amon St. Brown. You got Williams. You have Terry McLaurin. You also
Florida.
yeah. You also got I think is it Austin Eckler? He made his return. I think they also have Zach Ertz, who could be very deadly across the middle. And not saying we can't forget about Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So that this is going to be offensive weapon allure in regards to like everything that you want to see an offensive football team have. Both these teams have it. They're a very balanced attack. They got quarterbacks that have great vision. Obviously Jared Goff, way more experience. He's been to a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl, but been to a Super Bowl, was just in an NFC Championship game, so he understands these high leverage situations. We got Dan Campbell coaching in his second playoff visit, so we'll see how they kind of maneuver this time around in regards to will they take the points? Will they march out? Jesse Bates to go ahead and kick a field goal, or are they going to have Jared Goff in the offense stay out there? That'll be interesting to see how those decisions kind of play out. And Washington, believe this or not, all their games have come down to the last play. Their last 5 games, going back to New Orleans, where it was a 2-point conversion that they had to defend to defeat the lowly Saints, and then they were able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk about them a little bit later. And then they were able to win that overtime game, that classic game against Atlanta, where they were able to take out Michael Penix Jr. and the Atlanta Falcons from the playoff picture. And then it was Dallas, the last game of the year, where they were able to sneak in as the 6th seed and force Green Bay to go on the road and play Philadelphia for Week 1.
Yeah.
And then last week we talked about this at the top with the doink for the win. That's what it is. It's being able to be situational aware, and that will be something that I'm looking forward to. Is like, this is a quote that I heard Troy Aikman say on Monday Night Football's broadcast. So I'm going to credit Troy Aikman talking about Jimmy Johnson. It's not the team that makes the biggest plays. It's the team that makes the fewest bad plays, and I feel like that's going to decide who wins this game. We can go into predictions, or I don't know if you have any other, I guess, like thoughts on both Washington and Detroit. What are you most excited to see?
I mean, at the end of the day, she was right there. The least mistake she made, I think we talked about this with the Notre Dame Ohio State coming up Monday. The team with the least mistake will win this game because this isn't going to be like a walk to the park where Detroit can walk in here and be like, oh, we're playing the Vikings again. It's going to be close, but we're going to end up smoking them in the third quarter. This game is going to be a tight-knit game. It's going to be a defensive game where mistakes are going to cost. It could be that one mistake in the first quarter that gives up a field goal, which costs you the game. It could be a missed block that causes a sack that screws you out of points. So it's going to be come down to that. But I mean, if I'm going to get my prediction, I'm going to go 27-24 Detroit. wins it on a last minute field goal.
Okay. I I'm going Washington. I feel like they're gonna shock the world, and I think this is that moment for Jaden Daniels to go ahead and shock the world. I got Commanders. I know it's 27-24. That's a good prediction. Um, I'm going 35-31. 35-31. I just feel like Washington does a better job of containing what Detroit wants to do in regards to Jahmyr Gibbs, and we'll see how David Montgomery is able to adjust in his first game back. But I feel like Washington is kind of running again with that ignorance is bliss, and they're not going to feel the weight as much as Detroit is being at home. And no one expected Washington to be here. So I feel like Washington kind of rides the same wave that Detroit ran with to get into the NFC Championship game, because I feel like that is going to carry them over 35-31. It's going to be a great instant classic. Either way, I feel like this is going to be more likely the game of the day for sure. Not game of the week, game of the day. Yep. Okay. So
well, if you say that, do you think if they win, they go to the Super Bowl?
to be determined on who wins the LA Philadelphia matchup.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that could definitely set them up for a playoff or for a Super Bowl berth for sure. Yeah. Okay, so now we go to the Philadelphia. We go to Philadelphia. We stay on the NFC side of this tree. We got Philadelphia and the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford, but he's 1-8 in any like cold or snow games, and I think that's his record in the playoffs, which is like wow, okay. What was that one win? Because it's kind of fleeting my mind in regards to like him winning a snow game, because he's been in the dome for a majority of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then going up against Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. We got Saquon Barkley. Like you're just going up against a lot, and you're going up against the Philly fans. I know Jared Verse came out and said that he hates Philly fans, and I don't know what he really did. He probably hurt Matthew Stafford and the offense by saying that, because they're gonna cheer that much louder, knowing that you hate them, because like you have invited them to the fight. They're already going to be there, but like now that you've acknowledged them, they're going to get that much louder, that much more rowdier. It's a 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock Eastern. I think it's a 1 or 2 o'clock start. It's a little bit later start, so Philly fans, they'll probably start at the crack of dawn on Saturday. So they're probably starting today, right now as we speak. So they'll probably go a full 24 hours without sleeping before this game. So yeah, Philadelphia will probably be on fire for kickoff. So this will be this will be an intense playoff game. So this will definitely be a good game to watch. But what are your thoughts in regards to LA going into Philadelphia?
You got a warm weather team going to the cold weather. Uh, it's gonna be tough. I think Philadelphia does have an edge there. I think in the Packers, distinctively good. You have Saquon Barkley being good. Jalen Hurts back in action. He can do Jalen Hurts things. I mean, I'm just. It's one of those things where it's like you want this team to win, but you know what's going on in LA. Like, are they gonna try to finagle it to, or try to put the mindset of, hey, LA's doing it for LA, and all that stuff.
Right.
It's going to be a great game. And the weather's supposed to be. We're supposed to get Arctic wind.
Arctic
So
wind.
I think
So like Arctic blast coming through. Okay.
so. I think it's going to be like 2 degrees there with a -8 wind chill. I could be wrong. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, locally
Games
right
are
now
fun.
in right here in Minnesota, it's like 9 degrees with a feel of -3. I know it's a cold snap here in the Twin Cities. How's the weather looking like for you in Green Bay?
It's fine. It's 22 right now. Feels like 14, but the second the sun goes down, the stars come out. We're gonna hit.
Karaoke, ladies and gentlemen, right? Jim Bushy.
Thank you very much. Uh, no, we're supposed to get like -5 degrees with a possibility of a -40 wind chill tomorrow,
Okay.
and I'm ready to walk
Any wind
outside.
gusts?
I think we're supposed to get some.
Okay.
Yeah, we're supposed to get wind gusts, and like, apparently, if you're outside within 15 minutes, exposed skin, you'll get frostbite.
Frostbite. Ooh. Yeah.
Uh,
Stay bundled up.
I'll
Yep.
bundle up. No, I'm just walking out with my sweatshirt on again, a little hat, a little gloves. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Oh, but
That's funny.
back to the game.
Back to the game. Back to the game. So it's gonna be cold. That's the whole point of this sidetrack. It's gonna be really cold, right?
So are they gonna throw the ball a lot more? Are they gonna run the ball more? Like, is each team, are they gonna kick the ball? It's gonna come down to, do you want to kick the ball with the ball that is as solid as a brick?
Right.
Kickers are gonna be like, ew, this is gonna be tough. So like, it's gonna come to the mind games where, are you gonna want that? Are you gonna go for those extra 2-3 yards? Are you gonna go for that 4th and 3? Are you gonna go for that 4th and 5? Are you gonna kick that field goal? Because can you trust kickers in this game?
Yeah. Can you trust kickers? And is ball security gonna be an issue, especially if that ball is gonna be. Is it going to be slick if it's snowing? It's going to be slick. You got to definitely be on the lookout for that, especially how, Matthew Stafford was kind of careless with the football in this last game. There was opportunities to turn them over. And I know Kyron Williams, he also had a fumble, but it was like his knee was going down, so that could be something to look forward to in regards to like the new elements for the Rams, because I know Philadelphia, they play in it. They're more accustomed to it. So that's just going to be that advantage moving forward for Philadelphia. But looking at the squad, for the most part, pretty healthy, right? In regards to no major injuries in regards to both Los Angeles and Philadelphia. I'm looking at right now in regards to the injury report. The only ones that I'm seeing is Nakobe Dean. He's out for the season. I think he got injured against the Packers in the wild card game. But everybody else, it looks like, was already out. They had a few folks that were designated to return for next week. But for Los Angeles, no major injuries. I see they had Troy Reeder, one of their linebackers that was, and then there's a couple questionable. Witherspoon, I believe, Akello Witherspoon, who had a great game against the Vikings, he is questionable for game day. And then Bobby Brown, one of their defensive tackles, is questionable. So they got a couple questionables going to this game. But overall, healthy matchup. Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Kyron Williams, Saquon Barkley. I have to give the edge to the Eagles for both quarterback and running back. Wide receivers, it's close in regards to the top guy. Puka Nacua is probably going to show out and going to have a huge game regardless. A.J. Brown, we'll see if reading on the sidelines, inner excellence, if that's going to play a part in regards to showing his excellence in this game. Okay, so what are your thoughts in regards to predictions for this game?
It's gonna be a low-scoring game. I'm gonna go 12-6. Easy. I don't think a field goal or an extra point will go in. They'll try for two, but they're not gonna make it most of the time.
Okay.
It's gonna be a defensive game.
Defensive game. Who's the winner?
Oh, Philly.
I was waiting. Okay.
12-6.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. Philadelphia 12-6. Okay. This is interesting. weather is going to be snowing, 35. Yeah, I'll go Philadelphia. I think again, they win. They win this handily. I feel like they win this going away. For some reason, I feel like the Rams are going to make this closer than we think it's going to be. But I got Philadelphia winning this 20, 20 to 14. 20 to 14. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
Yep. All right. We got one game left. One game left,
One
Chip.
game.
And that is the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Buffalo Bills. The game of the week. Game of the week. Hands down.
Has to be game.
Game of the week. And it's the perfect spot that they put it. They put it at the late game on Sunday, final game of the divisional round, and it will decide who will be the last team that will be going to the conference championship stage. Ravens coming off a victory over their hated rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, complete domination in that game. The Buffalo Bills taking care of the Denver Broncos and upstart Bo Nix and Sean Payton. It was a game for the first half, and then the doink happened, and then that was the death of the Broncos. And then the Bills were able to take care and be able to do exactly what they wanted to do in the second half. So both teams imposed their will, and I think this will be a 5:30 kickoff. I think maybe a 6:30 Eastern time. This is very even. I feel like the matchup predictor right now has it 49.7 Baltimore, 50.3 Buffalo. So it's a pick 'em. It's a coin flip. You got two MVP candidates. You got Josh Allen, more likely he might win it. Lamar Jackson, he's definitely trying to go for that third MVP trophy. And then you got McQueen or Derrick Henry. You know, he got a new nickname after last week. He said he doesn't want to be called Derrick anymore. Just call him McQueen. Yes, face palm. Yes. And we got James Cook, who he's definitely cooking for Buffalo. And then Zay Flowers is doubtful. So there's some injury talk here in regards to Baltimore. Zay Flower is doubtful going into this game, but Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews have definitely picked up the slack in regards to the receiving side of the game. And then Khalil Shakir has been just lights out in regards to taking over as the number one wide receiver for Buffalo, especially after the departure of Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. So definitely next man up mentality in Buffalo. Your thoughts going to this game? There isn't any crazy weather. It's just going to be like 17 degrees. I feel like I don't see any snow in the forecast.
I thought I saw it was supposed to be 3 feet of snow there. But
Okay.
let's check. Let's check the whole.
It could be raining. I don't know. I'm seeing here that it's wind, but I don't see any snow. That could definitely change over
today.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's snowing there today.
Okay. So it's snowing today. Okay.
It's supposed to snow Monday there.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so that's.
So it's just gonna miss them. Just gonna miss them. Okay.
Just gonna miss. I mean, when you want to see this game in snow, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like there's gonna be snow like tonight, which is gonna be like an inch or two of snow tonight. But like yeah, it would be a perfect setting to have that snow, like for that game. That would have been iconic. Yeah. Yep.
To the game, I think it's not gonna be like the Philadelphia game. They're actually gonna. I think they're gonna throw the ball a little bit more unless James Cook and Derrick Henry can actually like break through the line of scrimmage. I think they're gonna be passing a lot more. Josh Allen, he's been proving why he deserves the MVP this year. Lamar Jackson, I mean, hey, he's doing Lamar Jackson thing. They finally let him go and do Lamar Jackson football. And it's a pick 'em. I mean,
Definition of a pickle.
I think the edge has to go to Buffalo fans because they're wild because
Bills
they'll have
Mafia.
decided Bills Mafia. Uh, how can you? But to quote Tom Brady in the roast of Tom Brady, how can you call yourself a mafia if you don't have a ring? So this could
That's
be the year.
awesome. That's a great callback. Yep.
I would honestly, if I had to see a team win their first Super Bowl this year, it'd be Buffalo. I think the city has been. I mean, the remaining team, them and Detroit, they both deserve it. No one wants to see Baltimore in it again. Not talking about the Chiefs anymore. I don't think Texas can do it. I don't
Yeah,
think
Texas is
Commanders.
probably done. Yeah.
Commanders, I don't think they can. Eagles can put up a fight, but I think Buffalo has the edge against them. LA, I mean, going into hostile territory with another terrible fan base to like be uh, visiting visitors of. But
Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore is a tough crowd. Yeah.
Philadelphia,
Oh, Philadelphia. Oh, yeah, Philadelphia is tough as well. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I thought you were talking about like the current matchup, but like, yeah, Philadelphia, awful, awful fan base in regards to like
I'm,
some of their extreme fans. Yeah.
I think the fans are going to play a huge factor in this game. I think it's just they're just going to bring the noise, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be game of the week. Give me Buffalo. Give me 30-24.
Okay. Okay. 30-24. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I gotta go with Baltimore. I'm on the bandwagon. I think this is gonna be as close as a game that we can ask for. I'm going Buffalo losing this game. Using the McAfee uh, playbook here. I got Buffalo losing this game to Baltimore. I think they get into the 30s. 34 31. I think it comes down to a Justin Tucker, like, icing it kick. And
See,
what better way for Justin Tucker to kind of, like, level up for the Ravens in a huge primetime moment? I know we've been talking about quarterbacks, but I feel like the special teams here is going to be the edge because I feel like it either comes down to like either Buffalo missing a kick, and then it leads to Baltimore being able to go ahead and go down and kick the game-winning field goal.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say leveling up. I would say if he kicks it, he would be back to form possibly because he was struggling this year.
Yeah,
But
he's been
it's
struggling this year.
wait and see. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a fun game to watch.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so that wraps it up in regards to the NFL action. Real quick, we'll touch on college, and then we'll get our predictions for college, the national title, and this is something that I want to argue. I feel like the college national championship should not be played on a Monday. I know that they do that for the Final Four. I get that, but I feel like college is played on Saturday traditionally. So I feel
Yeah.
like it should be on a Saturday spotlight. But I guess that's just my bugaboo. But like again, it's on Monday. It's on MLK Day, Inauguration Day. Three things are going on, and this is the third thing that's happening is the national championship.
I mean, yeah. If you want to play devil's advocate, you have MLK Day, you have inauguration, you have two big events that who knows what can happen because we live in a crazy world. Anything
Exactly.
can happen,
Right. Anything could happen.
and I'm pretty sure the NFL is like, I mean, the NFL probably doesn't care, but
No.
it's it's a day where people are either partying or they're celebrating or they're drinking because they're upset. They're celebrating Martin Luther King birthday. They're doing stuff like that,
Right. There's a lot of things
and
going
then
on. Right. Right.
yeah, and they need something to end their day on.
Gotcha.
So I think having a college football game where fans don't have to worry like football NFL fans don't have to worry about all this other things plus their game, they can sit down, relax, and enjoy. You're a fan of the college teams. Right here, I'm definitely rooting for Notre Dame, so go Fighting Irish. It's gonna be stressful, but yeah, it feels like it should be played on a Saturday, like always.
Yes, yeah. That's just like what I would definitely like be like pointing to is like, hey, you play all these games on Saturday. Now you just got. I get it. It's the national championship. You do it on Monday, but like before you know it, the NFL is gonna have like a Monday night divisional round game before we all know it.
Yeah.
You know that's coming. That's in the future. Okay, so with all that being said, Ohio State going in, try to win a national championship after Michigan just won it last year, and in the new look Big Ten. It's going to be interesting to see how Ohio State is going to match up with Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Riley Leonard just came over from Duke. You got Jeremiah Love, so you have great names on both sides. You got Smith with Ohio State. You got Will Howard, who just came over from Kansas State. So again, the transfer portal is like it's evident in regards to these national championship games and these teams. It's within their DNA. But real quick, I'll go with Ohio State, but I hope I'm wrong. I'm going with Ohio State, but I hope I'm wrong because I'm going to be rooting for Notre Dame. But I'm going Ohio State winning this game. I'll be real quick. 27 to 24.
I mean, I already told you I'm rooting for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's gonna win. Gonna win. Gonna win 14-10.
14-10. Okay, defensive battle.
Okay.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yes.
No, awesome. Couple notes. I watched the Wolves. They were able to take care of the New York Knicks. No Karl Anthony Towns. He was unable to suit up. But it's good to see the Timberwolves at least getting some type of synergy because they've been kind of starting slow, and I know Anthony Edwards has been very vocal in regards to the team starting slow. They have a big test tonight. They're going to be playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers, top team in the East. Their division rival, the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 1 in the NBA right now, just beat down on the Cavaliers earlier this week, so this would be a good test to see how ready the Timberwolves are to continue to play high-level basketball. And then on MLK Day, they will be in Memphis, so they'll be tipping off the MLK Day action in the NBA. So we'll be watching the Wolves going up against Memphis, which I consider them a rival of the Timberwolves because of the playoff series that they had, I believe, back in 22. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Timberwolves play the rest of the month of January. They have a couple tests coming up. They also have, I believe, the Denver Nuggets next week. So that'll be a team to track. They got, I think, Dallas right after Memphis. Then they got Denver. So it'll be interesting to see how the Timberwolves end the month of January going to the rest of the season. And then the Minnesota Wild, they've kind of cooled down. They've got 2 losses this last week. They took on the Oilers this past Wednesday. They weren't able to get the job done. But yeah, they're looking to bounce back. They got the Avalanche. They got Nashville tonight. So they get an opportunity to bounce back. It's not all doom and gloom with the Minnesota Wild. Eventually they're going to come back to earth, but want to continue to see that high level of play, especially going into the playoffs, so they can raise the Stanley Cup like the Vegas Golden Knights. Because hey, we're an expansion team, but we got to win something with Minnesota.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess any closing thoughts here in regards to what you're seeing with sports? I know we're going to talk about the cold weather, about the pizza delivery guy, $2 tip. That's criminal activity. Like that was in Indiana. Like that's not even Minnesota. That's in Indiana. But like, please tip your pizza delivery people, especially if they're going through the cold, especially all weekend during the cold snap. If you're delivering pizzas and you're listening to the podcast, we do appreciate you. We do love, any fans, and definitely comment on the YouTube channel if you are a pizza delivery driver. We'd love to get your thoughts in regards to, any tips, because I think that'd be a good topic moving forward in regards to pizza deliveries, especially with the playoffs and the Super Bowl coming up. That's a big pizza delivery day. Yep.
Oh, pizza delivery and wings.
And wings, yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's if you make someone go out and whether you tip $2, you are scum. I'm sorry.
It's just terrible. Like, they're risking life and limb to get you your goods. Yeah. Right. All right, so be excited to watch. And real quick, you had the NIL story that I want to touch on, and then we can sign off.
Yeah, no, apparently a player in University of Wisconsin, he signed a 2-year contract with the university. He played 1 season. He went back to Miami and then said, hey, I'm out of there. I'm transferring to Miami. They said that they're not putting his name in the portal because contract, but NCAA basically went out there and said, yeah, we have no authority over this. So yeah, it's the wild west of NIL and everything. So this is something that is a problem.
Right. No, it's a huge problem. This is the defensive back Xavier Lucas. So he left Miami after playing 1 year with Wisconsin, even though it was a 2-year contract. I was just like, how does that happen? But it's like you said, it's the wild west in regards to the NIL. It's chaos in regards to, you're getting attorneys involved, so it is getting nasty by the minute in regards to like all these players that want to move, and it's basically just like they're professional athletes. They're no longer amateur athletes.
No longer. So you got to start treating them like professional athletes if they're going to do this. I think we kind of touched about that last week.
Correct, with Coach. Yeah.
Hey, here's an example. Like this is someone signing a contract. He's no longer a kid. You have to now treat him like an adult, like a grown up, who now I think has to deal with the consequences. And with the NCAA saying that, you're going to see this happen more and more now, and then it's just going to come down to like lawsuits are going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something that we're going to continue to track, continue to bring up with the 94 podcast. It's just the new evolution of college football, the NIL, and basically all sports, all NCAA sports, because it's affecting all platforms. But yeah, definitely excited to see all these games coming up. But yeah, thank you again, Jim, for joining us, and I hope you have a great week ahead.
You too, man. You too. It's gonna be a fun weekend of football.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be a fun week of football, and next time we get to chat, it will be championship weekend. So I'm excited for that. My favorite weekend for football, besides the Super Bowl, of course. But yeah, we're really excited for that. Nice touch. All right. Until next time, we'll see you at the TOP. We're out.